Hi, John Marshall, DrillMaster. I have the flaking video, what the drill world calls flaking, getting attacked by the flake monster. It's fainting, passing out. So, most people are just thinking, locked her knees, locked her knees. Actually, many people are saying locked his knees. This is a female police officer. The Capitol Police are the ones who guard the Chief Justices, and this is the casket lying in state of former Justice now, Sandra Day O'Connor. And the most common reaction to this is, she locked her knees. Yep, locked her knees, locked her knees, locked her knees. And honestly, that might be a small part of it. So, first, let me explain some other reasons why. And this there could be a mixture of several of these. So, alcohol intake, change in diet or eating habits the morning of fluctuates with the blood sugar, and then you're kind of screwy the rest of the day. Pregnancy. I was in formation many years ago with a young lady, a fellow airman, who was pregnant and didn't know it. And she passed out. We rushed to aid her, and she was taken care of. Everything was fine. Lack of proper hydration. That's probably the biggest issue, is lack of proper hydration. Drinking water takes 3 days to properly hydrate the body, and it can just take a couple of hours to dehydrate the body to where you have to build up again over the next 3 days. So heat can be a factor. Inadequate preparation. Now, the Capitol Police, they have an honor guard. They're doing this is what's called casket watch here, and performing the duties of casket watch is not a common training practice for police. Yet they do it. I train law enforcement, firefighters, EMS personnel all across the country to do just this, plus many other ceremonial duties, and it takes a good bit of stamina. It takes a lot of training to be able to do this adequately. The ceremonial guardsmen in Washington, D.C., for each of the services, they have long stands. Stands are where you just stand at attention, parade rest, what you would call parade rest, ceremonial at ease, stand at ease. They will stand for very long periods of time, and they will build up their stands from a half hour to an hour, ultimately to 2 hours, and just standing there doing nothing. And that's what happens in D.C. That's the common practice, is to stand around and do nothing. At least that's for the military. We will. I'm no longer in the military, but for my 20 years, it's hurry up and wait. Well, for the ceremonial guardsmen in D.C., it's hurry up and wait while you stand motionless. And at least the rest of the military doesn't have to stand motionless. So. Then there's nerves, people getting nervous. That can have an effect. And then the last thing I want to bring up is what everybody just immediately thinks of: lock the knees. So what is locking the knees? That's hyperextending the knee joint. And some people can raise their kneecaps, articulate the muscles in the thighs to raise the kneecaps. When you raise your kneecap, that is locking that joint. Now, I can lock my joint here, and that's not going to do anything. But hyperextending my joint and really tensing up my hand, that's engaging all those muscles. Well, that's what happens in the thighs. You lock those thigh muscles up, and it restricts blood flow. And restricting blood flow is a bad thing. It's not going to make it all the way back up to the brain, where the brain needs the oxygenated blood. The heart's pumping, has to work a little harder, and so it's a myriad of things that happen. If lack of hydration, locking the knees, maybe even just a drink the night before, a glass of wine or something. It all can have an effect, and so you need to steer clear of that kind of stuff. So let's watch and see what happened here. Now I've turned off. There she was going. Now you can see that she had her knees locked because she started to walk forward and her knees were bent. So, and there's also hypermobile joints. So and this is more common in women. Now, if we had a side view, sometimes you can see people who will stand at attention, and if their knee joint is here, you'll see the knee joint bend backwards. Now, I really don't have hypermobile joints. I can just make a little bit of a dish with my hand, but some people can bring their fingers back much, much further, and it's probably all of their joints. And there's also a disease that goes along with that for the extreme part of that, and it's quite a painful existence. But for those who just stand straight, who can then not have their knees lock backwards in the back position, then everything's fine, and we can fall in, tighten up those muscles like I do every time I fall into formation. Fall in at attention for when I'm teaching, then I tighten my thigh muscles so I'm locked in place. And eventually, I'll relax the thigh muscles gradually over time. I have a friend of mine who will do the same thing, but keep his thigh muscles locked the entire time he's in the formation, and it's never affected him. So locking the knees doesn't necessarily lead to this for everybody. It can, and but I'm wondering if she might have had. Yeah, you can see there. So she's going down. That's a true faint. She's out. But now you can see that her knees lock. That's for sure, because she's leaning up against her partner there. It looks like for Casket Watch they were going to come in, change the guards, and then the guards who were on were then going to move off, and then new guards coming on possibly. So, and she's taken care of here. But see, one of the things that really should not have happened is this guard here. Stand where you're supposed to be. And I don't know who this gentleman is in civvies, but it's quite possible. And then there's another gentleman over here, so it's quite possible that and I don't know what the office members are called for the justices. It's quite possible they were also standing watch over the casket of Justice O'Connor. Anyway. So she gets taken care of, and everything's fine. And I'm quite sure that was probably all that took place. But then him finally going back, coming to attention, and facing the casket, and resuming duties, then stepping in for her was the right thing to do. So, but again, locking the knees, it's common. But it's not every single time. And for everybody who was just, yep, snap judgment, got it taken care of. Lack of water, lock the knees. Well, yeah, maybe. But it's probably not. Not every single time. All right, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.